Hello, Mary C. Williams friends. This is Miss Britt here. I am going to introduce to you your new topic for this week. So this week we are going to be using a word called fixed. Fixed means that it's already determined. So in this case, we are going to be working with fixed perimeter with an unknown side measurement. So last week you guys worked on area and perimeter and you were reviewing them from third grade. So if you remember, the perimeter is the distance around the outside of a shape, right? Yes. The perimeter is going to be the distance around, or the measurement around, the whole outside of a shape. And then you also worked with something called area, and then area was what was on the inside, and I apologize for writing it like that. The area is what is written on the inside. So you have an area. Well, we're not going to do area today. We are going to focus on perimeter. And in the examples that you have, we are giving you perimeter equals something. So our perimeter equals 16 meters in this case. You have to figure out what the missing side length is this week. So you are looking for the unknown side measurement. So whatever the side measurement is that is missing, that is what you are going to be working on. So we have the perimeter, we have one side, and we all know that if we have one side, since it is a rectangle, that whatever this side equals, that the opposite side is equivalent to it. So if this one is 6 meters, then this one is also 6 meters. But we also know that if we don't know what this is, then do we know what this is? No, we don't know. So we have to figure out what this missing side is. Remember these little marks from last week? When you have one mark, this means that these two are equivalent. And then when you have two marks, it means that these two sides are equivalent. It means they're the same distance or the same length or the same width, whatever the measurement is. All right, so we have our what? We know our length. We use black. So we know our perimeter, and this time we know our length. Okay? What are we missing? We know the length, but we're missing, perfect. We don't know what the width is. We have a question mark there, so we don't know what the width is. We're going to figure that out today, and we're going to use the same exact formula that we used last week to figure it out, which is the formula for perimeter. Do you remember the formula for perimeter? Good, good. All right, go ahead and write that down on your paper now. All right, P, yep, equals length plus width plus width. Perfect. Now, I know you remember from last week. Last week we were trying to figure out what the perimeter was. But today, they already gave us the perimeter. So because they gave us the perimeter, all I have to do is plug that number in. Remember those words, plug that number in? I'm going to plug it in or put it in place of the P. So I've got 16 meters. Remember, we have to always put our what? Yes, units of measurement. Units of measurement. Do not forget your units of measurement. So we have 16 meters. Put your equal sign. Do we know our length? Yep, you are absolutely right. It is 6. Our length is 6 meters. Plus another what? 6 meters. Plus, do we know our width? No, we do not. So we have one question mark for one of the W's, and we have another question mark for the last W, because if we do not know this width, we do not know this width. So both of those have to have a question mark. So we're here now, we have 16 meters equals 6 meters plus 6 meters plus question mark, because we do not know what that is. All right, let's keep going. When we were solving the perimeter formula last week, we would say P equals, and we would combine these numbers, right? You're going to do the same thing this week. Your next step is going to be to combine like numbers. So 6 meters plus 6 meters is 12 meters. We still bring down the 16 meters that we have. And do we know what this is yet? No, we do not. So it is a plus. I'm trying to use the same colors. A question mark plus a question mark. Now this is where it might get a little bit tricky for you, so pay attention. If I want to know what these question marks are, I have to ask myself, 12 plus what number plus what number gives me 16? But the important thing here is making sure that these numbers are the same exact number. You have to use the same exact number. So here we are with a question mark plus a question mark. I like to take my 12 and subtract it. So I say 16 minus 12 gives me 4 meters left over. 4 meters left over. Okay, so all I did was move this over here and subtract it, because I know that 16 equals, if 16 equals 12 plus something, I just want to get rid of the 12 for just a minute, and the way I get rid of the 12 is by subtracting it from the 16. And now I'm left with 4 equals something plus something, and then it gets a whole lot easier. Okay? So here I am with my 4 equals something plus something. Okay? What number could this be? 4 equals, what could my question mark be? What number is the same number that when I add it together, I get 4? Yes, it could be 2. 2 plus 2, and it's not just a 2. I hope you caught me. I hope you were yelling at me through the video. It's 2 meters plus 2 meters. Let's go back up to our problem and see if that would work. If I come up here and I say, let's pretend we're going to just plug it in. If this becomes a 2 meters and this becomes 2 meters, will that work? Let's see. 6 plus 6 is 12. 2 plus 2 is 4. 12 plus 4 is 16. Did it work? Did that give us a perimeter of 16? Yes, it did. So that means we are correct. Let me show you the example on your work. Okay, so I purposely did the same problem as your example problem on your work for today. So this is the first slide. It tells you that each slide is worth 6 points and that there are 18 total points for you to get on this assignment. You have your essential question. How do I determine or figure out a missing side length when I know the perimeter? We're working with fixed perimeter with an unknown side. That's super important. And then I put a little visual here. When we know the perimeter and we know one of the sides, we can always figure out the missing side. Okay? And then that is your definition for perimeter from last week. So let's go back to the example. This is what I just did on my whiteboard. You always start with the formula. So the first thing you do is write down the perimeter formula. And then you plug in or you put in the numbers that you know. What do you know? In this case, we know the length. We do not know the width. We also knew the perimeter. So we plug in what we know. 16 meters, we know the P, so we go to where the P is and we put in 16 meters equals 6 meters plus 6 meters. Plus, we did not know the width, so we had to put a question mark in there. So that's why we have question mark meters plus question mark meters. I put in there, leave question marks for what is unknown, because that's what I want you to do. Make sure that there are question marks for things that are unknown. That helps me to know that you know what is not told to you in this problem. Then you do like we always do. We combine like numbers. 16 meters equals 12 meters because we combined the 6 plus the 6 and got 12. But we still have question mark meters plus question mark meters. Then I wanted you to think about subtracting. Say 16 meters minus 12 meters, and that gives you 4 meters. So you leave your 4 meters here and you ask yourself, 4 meters equals what plus what? You have to think about what number plus the same number equals 4 meters. I know 2 and 2 are the same number, so 2 plus 2 is 4. So my missing side length is 2 meters. And then you have to test it. You have to ask yourself, if this is 6 and this is 6, then that is 12. If this is 2, 12 plus 2 is 14, plus 2 more is 16. Yes, it works. I'm good to go. So then I showed you this and gave you directions, but then I showed you how to set it up. So this is how your page is actually going to look. So I put the steps on the side, write the equation, fill in what you know, combine like numbers, subtract the combined total from the total perimeter. So you're taking what you had over here, this 12, and you are subtracting it from the total perimeter. That left us with 4, and then you had to figure out what the question marks were, and ended up finding out that our width was 2. Your page looks like this. You are going to fill in each one of these spaces what you need to, and then you're going to give me your final answer down here. You also have to put your question mark over here. All right. If you have any questions, please feel free to message us. Okay, so now that you've seen the first example and you've seen it on your paper, let's do another one. So the first thing that we always start with is what? Yes, the formula. You always have to start with the formula. So we start with P equals length plus width plus width. Okay, we got that. Then what do we do? Yep, plug in what you know. What do you know? I know the P, and I know, which one is this? This is length. I know the length. So what am I going to be looking for this time? Perfect, my width. So if I know the P, I can go ahead and put in what it equals. It equals 14 centimeters. I have to include my unit of measurement. It equals 14 centimeters. I know my L, so I can plug it in 2 times. 4 centimeters, 4 centimeters plus 4 centimeters plus, do I know my width? No, I do not. So since I do not know my width, I don't know it, this is going to become a question mark down here. Question mark plus question mark. I have to put 2 of them because you always include the width 2 times. All right? 14 centimeters equals 4 centimeters plus 4 centimeters plus question mark plus question mark. Next step. What do we do next? Yes, combine like numbers. We need to put these numbers together. So you bring down everything else. 14 centimeters equals 4 centimeters plus 4 centimeters. Yes, 8 centimeters plus question mark plus question mark. Perfect. Okay? If I were you, I would be writing this example down so that you have it for when it's time for you to go and do your own work. Okay? Here we are. You can pause the video in case you were not writing it down with me the whole time. You should be because you're actively participating. So we've got 14 centimeters equals 8 centimeters plus something plus something. Remember, these two somethings have to be the same number. They have got to be the same number because when we look at our shape, the width is going to be the same on both sides, so it has to always be the same number. So the next step is the one that most of you will probably have trouble remembering to do. So make sure you pay attention. Right now, you are going to take this 8 centimeters and you are going to subtract it from the 14 centimeters. You're doing that so that you can figure out how much you have left for these two to equal. 14 minus 8 leaves us with, perfect, 6 centimeters. And then, because we've already used the 8, all we have left is 14 centimeters equals our question mark plus our question mark. And then it becomes much easier. This has to be the same number. This number plus this number has to equal 6. What is the only number that when you add it to itself, it's going to give you 6? Yeah, my question mark is 3. Is it just 3? No, Ms. Britt. It's 3 centimeters because 3 is the same number, and when I add it together, I get 6. So that means my answer for my width is 3 centimeters. Let's go back up to our problem and try that out. We want to know if 3 centimeters works. Remember, if this one's 4, then this one's 4. Let's count. 4 plus 4 is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Did that give us 14 centimeters? Then our work is correct. The last step you have to do on your paper is tell me that you came up with the width equals 3 centimeters. So that's the last thing that you will write in your box when you're completing your work. width equals 3 centimeters, or if you're figuring out the length, you'll write in length equals whatever it equals. Let's do one more. All right, friends, what do we always start with? Absolutely. The formula for perimeter. Perimeter equals length plus width plus width. Perfect. Now, this time, what is missing? What's missing this time? This time we know what this is, and this is the, this time we know what the width is. So what is missing this time? Perfect. We do not know what the length is. It is missing. We're waiting for our length. So we have to solve to figure out what our length is. So let's plug in what we know. Our next step is to plug in what we know. So we write the formula and we do some plugging in. We have the perimeter, yes and yes. So we are at 22 meters equals, what is my length? I don't know either. There's nothing there. So I'm going to put a question mark plus a question mark because we have two lengths plus what is our width? All day long, 4 meters plus 4 meters. What's our next step? Absolutely. Figure out, we gotta go ahead and combine what we know. Let's combine what we know. We have 4 meters plus 4 meters is going to give us, yes, absolutely, 8 meters. We still do not know what our question marks are, so we do not know our length, but we do know the perimeter still, of course, so we bring that down. Next step. Yes, we take this 8 meters, which is what we just figured out, and we subtract it from the 22. So we say 8, we bring it over here and we say 22 minus 8 meters. 22 minus 8. What is 22 minus 8? Absolutely, it is. You are correct. It is 14 meters. If you need to, you can do the subtraction. This becomes a 12 and this becomes a 1. 8, 12, take away 8 is 4. Bring down your 1. You have 14 meters left. And 14 is going to equal, get rid of this line, 14 meters is going to equal question mark plus question mark. Now remember, this question mark has to be the same number. So what number plus what number is going to give you 14? Yes, 7 plus 7. It has to be the same number. And here I go again. 7 meters plus 7 meters equals 14 meters. Now, for any of you guys that are really good at your division, you could say, when you get to this step, you could say, instead of what number plus what number, you could say 14 m divided by 2 question marks. So you have 2 question marks. So you have to take the 14 and divide it by 2. And when you say 14 divided by 2, you get 7. And that's how we ended up with 7 plus 7. So if you're really good with your division facts, maybe you already know how to do that. So we have our 7 as our answer. We go back up to the problem and we make sure that it works, because we're never okay unless we make sure that it works. All right, so we're saying that the length is 7 now instead of a question mark. Let's test it. 7 plus 7 is 14, right? 4 plus 4 is 8. 14 plus 8 is, yep, 22. Did that work? Yes, it worked. All right, my friends, this is a difficult concept for many, many students. So we want you to take your time. We want you to ask us questions. Please join us live if you try to watch this video and you're having any amount of difficulty, then please join us live so that you can ask us questions. If you will put questions on your assignment page, we will answer them and get back to you. So please, please do your best to ask for help, and we are here. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.